guys, it's Joey from Tippman's Paintball. Today we are doing the disassembly and reassembly of the Tippmann 98 Custom. So let's get started. The first thing you'd probably want to do is take off the feed neck. To do so, you press the front sight down and this should just easily pull off. Second thing you'll want to do for sure is to take off the barrel. And then the third thing you probably want to do is start disassembling by taking out all the screws. There's 7 screws. Two. 3. 4, 5, 'Tricky little one. Alright, so this one is special than the other ones. It's a little longer, almost 2 times larger than the other screws, and so you see right here in comparison it's quite larger, so keep that in mind when you're reassembling. The grip frame should come off freely after taking out that one. Okay, so now what you can do is you can start taking off the covers of the marker. And this is the platinum version of the Tippmann 98 Custom, which means that there are 2 sections which you could take off. So if you wouldn't want to take off this section, you could just take off this section here. So the metal casing comes right off. Alright, so once you got the casing off, you could take off your stock backplate, whatever you have on. In this case I have a stock. Right here you'll have your guide rod and your drive spring. So those 2 come in play. Just put that in whatever way you like. You have an O-ring back here to reduce impact with the bolt. Now you can take apart the sear, which triggers the bolt to fire. And there's a sear spring. This one always flies away from you, so be careful. You got the trigger protector or trigger guard, the safety, then the trigger spring, and your trigger. There's also the bolt pin. And now we could take apart the front part. Just lift that off. Right here is your bolt. Here's your front bolt. There's the striker. Here's the detent, which always gets away on you. I've had times where I've put my whole gun together again and I see that thing and I'm pissed because I have to take apart my whole gun again just to put that in there. Alright, so now you can take off the connecting rod by these 2 holes in the front bolt and the rear bolt. Okay, so once we've taken out the rear bolt, we'll talk about the front bolt, which is right here, a little plastic piece where the air is funneled through to shoot your ball, and the air chamber and your valve is in here. Once you take that off, your macro line will kind of run freely. So yeah, that's where your air is stored, and this is where the air is funneled through towards your front bolt. And then after that, you're pretty much done all you'd want to do on your disassembly of the 98 Custom. So now we'll have to reassemble it. So once we get started again, well, first of all, you might want to just get rid of all the grease and excess oil that you have on here. Just wipe it down. And then you might want to start putting it back together. First, start off the air chamber and the valve system. kind of link that together in that hole. And also mention that this is your velocity adjustment right there. It's what it looks like when you're looking at the internals of it. Your front bolt. Your rear bolt with, oh, it's in there. Okay, never mind. You have your O-ring that sits there. Connecting rod. It'll link up. And so once you have the bolt in there, don't forget your detent, of course. Put that in there. And then you could put in your bolt pin. Make sure there's a hole through it. Make sure the hole is facing to the rear and front of the marker, so that your drive spring and guide rod can go in there correctly. So basically now we have the whole internal part of the gun complete. Now we'll focus our attention on the trigger. First thing you want to do actually is put in the springs for the triggers. Now there are two springs, different sizes. The one that is larger goes on your sear, which is positioned right there. The one that is shorter goes on your trigger, which is positioned right there. So when you put it in, careful they jump away on you. It's kind of tricky to do sometimes. There. It should fit nice and flush, and you should have some bounce back with your trigger. Secondly, now we do the sear spring. Here's your sear. Goes in on the farthest pin, that's where it clips in. And you put that there. That one jumps away the most on you, so be careful. When all this stuff is under tension, pieces can go flying. Your safety, don't forget that. And your trigger protector. And basically now we are ready to put things together. So once you've got your guide rod attached to your stock or back plate, you'll want to push the whole assembly in and clip it into the grooves on the back of your marker. Once you've done this, everything looks to be positioned correctly. You can go ahead and start putting on your casing. You want to put on the front part first because that's the order in which it goes in. You can either put the screws in now or put them in later. Doesn't really matter. Remember, the big screw goes where the grip is. Now, put on your back shell. Put the screws in there. And tighten them all down. Now, final touch. Click that into those holes and put it on there. And your barrel. And you're ready to go.